Do you ever wonder if your diet plays a role in the health of your hair? Or maybe you're one of many who are downing biotin pills to grow your hair. Will increases in iron or protein or vitamin D3 be enough? Well, there is a lot of advice out there, but how do you know what your particular body needs? Now, recent studies have allowed us to learn more about how diet impacts our bodies. But what do we know right now when it comes to hair health? Well, that is what the Voices of Trichology are here today to discuss. My name is Dr. Crystal Porter. I'm a hair scientist and owner of Main Insights, a company that conducts research and focuses on the hair needs of people of African descent. This platform is designed to elevate the Black hair care industry and empower consumers and hair professionals with education that talks about scientific research and matters that pertain to the uniqueness of our hair and our needs and culture. I appreciate everyone joining us on today's chat. Now, before I bring on the Voices of Trichology, let's see who is out there with me this morning. Would love to know who you are and where you're watching from. You can put it in the chat. Also, I'd like to know if you are a practitioner. If so, put the number one. If you are a consumer, put the number two. And if you are a researcher or a scientist, such as myself, put the number three. And also, please like and share this if you are looking from Facebook or LinkedIn or maybe YouTube. Would love to see your interaction. Now, if you are frustrated with the lack of information available when it comes to caring for your hair, and you've wasted a lot of money, time, and resources trying to figure things out on your own, then you are definitely in the right place. And that is why we have created the Our Black Hair Matters movement. And if you haven't checked it out already, I have some useful resources on my hair assets page. And you can reach that by going to links.maininsights.com/info. That is what you see there in the on the screen there. And I have stuff that revolves around resources in terms of the biggest mistakes that curlies make. I have hair themed children's books in case you want to expose your children to the importance of what's going on with their hair. I have templates for you to write letters to companies who do not have data to back up their claims. And you can also schedule a complimentary consultation. And so all of that information is there in that link. Now, if you have joined a little late, I want to welcome you to the Our Black Hair Matters Lunchtime Chat. I am Dr. Crystal Porter, and it is the first Monday of the month where the Voices of Trichology come on the chat to share their experiences and their expertise. Now, today's topic is the hair diet, what you need to know from the Voices of Trichology. So I would like to welcome them to the chat. Let's bring them on right now. All right. Welcome, ladies.
Hey.
Awesome. All right. So, trying to get the background. I want to start off by reading some of your bios. And so I will start off with Gunisha. She is a certified trichologist with over 18 years of service providing hair loss prevention and restoration for men and women who suffer from alopecia. She is licensed in the states of Georgia and North Carolina as a master cosmetologist. She currently owns a hair and scalp treatment center in Augusta, Georgia, and she also provides non-surgical hair replacement services. Then we have Marvelette, who has over 30 years of experience backed with in-depth training, licensure, and certifications. She continued her education and training in the paramedical and science field, becoming a trichology healthcare practitioner and biomedical research assistant. Then we have Dana Wilson, who is the CEO and director of Hair Cares Inc. She is a certified trichologist, Sister Locks educator and consultant, a city certified research assistant, certified cold capper, veteran, and mother of a son on the autism spectrum. All right. So thank you
Yeah, thank
for
you.
being here. All right. I want to jump into this because I feel that we have not had enough conversation about this because there's so much noise out there. Everybody's into chat GPT
Yes.
and they're like putting all types of stuff in the chat trying to get it to regurgitate all this information, and a lot of the information is just straight up wrong because it's just regurgitating the misinformation that's already out there. So basically, I want to start off by asking, why is this even important to discuss? Because there's a lot of information, and I have to start off by saying that there's not enough information, which is one of the reasons why I'm actively trying to get more. But why is this important for you as a practitioner to start off with?
Well, I'll say, in my professional experience, a lot of clients that I've serviced have had issues, and it did relate back to the diet or different things that could have changed in a diet that could have caused or slowed down the progression of hair loss.
Mm, okay.
Mhm.
And so people are asked all the time, what do you eat? Right. And so do you find that they're usually truthful when it comes to letting you know what they eat?
That's real good. I mean, there is some sprinkles of the truth in there, right? Because a lot of people say, "Oh," I said, "What do you drink?" They say, "Oh, I drink water." Well, how much water, right? So
Right.
that is the real question. So, like, one cup is not going to do it, but people really underestimate what they eat. Like, they can tell you broadly what they're eating, but they kind of underestimate the amount in which they are consuming. So I believe people really do are trying to tell the truth. They're just not realizing how much they're eating of certain things, and then ultimately how that's impacting their health and then their hair. Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, what type of effects does diet really have on hair health to begin with?
So we found, well, I've done a little research. Okay.
Well, the key is
I did a little research, and I'm referencing an article or journal article in the Clinics of Dermatology, done by Dr. Goldberg and Dr. Lindsay, which they are dermatologists. And I think this was done. I'm reading from it as we speak. This was issued in August of 2010, and they really do link nutrition to hair health, right? And the way they do that is they're stating that the changes in skin and hair can provide clues to the presence of underlying vitamin deficiency. And the vitamin deficiency ultimately is the nutrition that we're providing our bodies. So they really do link that vitamin deficiencies can give us clues as to why someone's having issues with their skin and their hair.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, that's great information to
Yeah.
know. And I remember reading an article that was written by Drelios, Dr. Drelios, who is another prominent dermatologist. And
Mhm.
she was saying that it's really preferred for you to get your nutrition from food as opposed to the supplements. Not saying the supplements aren't useful, but if you have a preference, it's just better to have it via food.
Mhm. So obviously, nutrition is, I mean, proper nutrition or a balanced diet, and ultimately it helps your whole health, right? Your entire body, um, and then obviously your hair
Hmm.
is
Hmm.
impacted as well. Mhm.
Yeah. All
Mhm.
right. Now, I want to know, based on what you just said, is there any recommendations that you would have in terms of assessing how people are getting the true nutrition or what nutrition they actually have?
Mhm.
If you don't just ask the question, so how do you eat and how much water do you intake? You know?
Mhm. 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 Mhm.
So we use a system, the dietary assessment, to assess. It's a test we send them via email, and it assesses everything they eat, how the amount that they eat, what they drink, how often, and it provides a summary and a detailed report of everything you put in, and it gives you what you should be eating. It gives you a score. It gives you a HEI score, which is your healthy index score. And 80 is good. Anything 50 is any between 79 and 50 needs work, and then 50 and below is very poor. So it'll tell you what you should eat, how much of it you should eat, how many times a week you should eat. It's very detailed, and that'll help us gauge or assist you in how and what you should be eating.
Hmm. That seems like it would be extremely useful.
Mhm.
So people are on different diets, right? And so some people choose to be vegan, some people choose to be vegetarian. There are different types of diets. So, can we talk about the types of diets and whether or not it has positive or negative effects on hair health? What does the research show?
Mhm.
So,
So,
okay. Okay.
so I mean, as a trichologist, one of the tools that I use and most of us use as well to assess what kind of diet the person needs to be on is based off their blood work results, right? You want to get some blood work to kind of see where your vitamin deficiencies are. So if you're deficient in iron or deficient in calcium, obviously that needs to be in your particular diet because you're deficient in that area. So that's one of the tools that we look at outside of the diet assessment.
Okay,
So
yeah,
it's particular for you. So it's particular for you. So I might be deficient in iron. Somebody else might be deficient in vitamin C, and someone else might be deficient in something else. So it really is a personal thing.
hmm.
Yeah.
So when you're talking about looking at the blood, and when I first heard about blood type diets, I had a
Hmm.
lot of questions, lots.
Hmm.
And no one could really, I mean, there are books out there, but I find that some of the books don't give, in my opinion, adequate citations for where they got this information. So I'm always trying to not just take a person's word at their value. I like to explore and understand it myself. And so recently, there has been more research being done on blood typing and eating for your blood type. And so I want to know what your experience has been with that, or if you've had any experience with it, and what have you observed? Any of you?
Um, Recently, I had a client. We did her blood type. She had started taking a new supplement and a topical that I did not recommend. Didn't know she was taking it, and
Mhm.
she started having inflammation on her scalp, and she would have episodes. Well, doing her blood type test for her, I don't remember offhand. I want to say maybe she was a B. I'm not positive though. I don't remember because I had to look at her chart. But whatever her type was, she was a pumpkin was like toxic to her body. And so the topical and the oral thing, medicine, I mean, vitamin she was taking was based with pumpkin seed. And that's why she was having a reaction. She was showing breakage. She had inflammation on her scalp, and she just wasn't feeling well. So when she removed that, flushed her system out with, drinking water and eating better, according to her blood type, the problems were reversed. She has hair growth and there's no more inflammation on her scalp.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I know that anecdotally, a lot of people try to say, oh, this is what happened, and I recommended this, and I saw these results. But can you give us a little bit of background about the resources that you use to advise your client about the effects of pumpkin for that particular individual?
So what once we discover her blood type, this is something I do for all my clients, whether they know their blood type or whether they opt to for me to do the blood typing test on them or not. I require everybody who's under my care to keep a health journal, hair health journal. So that consists of writing down your beauty regimen, what you put on your skin, on your hair, and what you eat. And then at the end of the day or within an hour, you will write how you feel. So anything you notice different after you ate a particular thing, we would cross that out and we remove it from the diet for about 2 weeks to see if there's a change. And sometimes I might ask them to incorporate it back again if the problem persists. That's something you know you can't have, and it is affecting you. Sometimes if food is like a toxic to your blood, it may not give you an effect that you know readily.
Right.
It could be doing internal things that you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So unless we physically see it or feel it, we tend to ignore it. But if it's telling you in black and white that it is toxic to you, then I would just stay away from it. Because my motto is, do you eat to live or do you live to eat? I want to eat to live.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I can relate to that, Marvelette. I had a client, we did the blood typing as well. And for her particular blood type, it indicated that eggs were not beneficial to her. And she also took a food sensitivity test.
Mm-hmm.
And with that food sensitivity test, it also indicated that egg was not her friend. And she found that when she eliminated egg from her diet, she did not get the flare ups on her scalp. And what I mean by flare up, her scalp would flake. It was producing a lot of oil, and then that turned into flakes. And so that's what we call flare up. And it reduced it like dramatically. So
Wow.
it was the egg yolk and the egg white. So it was actually both. That once she eliminated that, the flare ups just reduced dramatically. So
Now, let me ask you this, because some people can consume, I mean, you may not know the answer to it.
mhm,
So, as you're talking, I'm just thinking. So, some people are allergic to egg where they can't eat raw egg, but if it's egg that is in something, meaning, you bake a cake with egg, then
mhm,
it's okay. Do you
mhm.
know if there is a difference for the particular person that you were saying?
It was egg in general. It was
So
egg.
it can be in cake.
Yes, yes. She eliminated egg. And
Wow.
here's was the thing. So it reduced it dramatically, right? And then she went on a trip and started incorporating a little egg in there. And guess what happened? She had a flare up. So
Hmm.
she was sold from that point. And it didn't matter if it was egg incorporated into a dish that was cooked, or it was just egg by itself, or raw egg. It didn't matter what it was, how it was made.
So was this assessment done outside of your office and you just was privy to the results?
Well, we did the blood typing, so we found out what her blood type was. I actually looked at the blood type diet, the concept itself, and we looked at those ingredients. And egg was one of those things that were not beneficial to her particular blood type. And then the food sensitivity test is something that I recommended to her as well. And so then we did process of elimination. We decided that we were going to key in on that egg, and that's what happened. And these are the results from that.
Okay.
Hmm.
I'm curious with anybody who is viewing the chat today to weigh in on that. If you've experienced seeing for yourself something that your body just didn't agree with, and then you saw benefits, whether it's your hair or health in general. I'm really curious about that. I'm amazed with the amount of research that's come out that really does support how you should be monitoring what you put in your body, and not just in general, so everyone says, yes, you should have adequate amounts of vegetables and different kinds of nutrition, like making sure that you get enough vitamin D3. But sometimes some people are deficient, but sometimes people just can't have a particular type of food, even though in general is healthy for people. For example, nuts are supposed to be, the good fat, really
Right.
good for you, but not everyone can consume all types of nuts. So it's just amazing to me how personalized the diet can be and the different tools out there to assess to help people.
And I want to say too, it's so many different types of diet on the market right now.
Hmm.
And when selecting a diet, of course, I'm going to always say talk to your primary care physician first.
Hmm.
But also do research on a diet to see what it does, what type of diet it is. Like the Mediterranean diet, for instance, is an excellent diet, but I'm not going to say it's for everybody.
Right.
But through a study that I read up on. Where did I read it? In the National Library of Medicine. It was about the effects of Mediterranean diet on type 2 diabetes. And people with alopecia areata are prone to type 2 diabetes because of the pro-inflammatory issues that it produces, let's say. So what they found that if the Mediterranean diet did kind of stabilize, prevented the progression, and prevented the type 2 diabetes in people with alopecia areata and people who already had type 2 diabetes, it stabilized it to where they didn't have to take medicine anymore. So it was excellent for a person with type 2 diabetes. So that's important too. If you have different things going on, figure out what to eat. Certain foods can exacerbate the situation,
Right.
or it can stabilize it or make it actually go away. I don't know if you want to say go away, but go into remission, however you want to put it, you don't show any signs of it anymore. So it's excellent to research everything you do. And if you have something going on with you, figure out what the culprit is, because just by removing that, you can have a much better, healthier life.
Absolutely.
Wow. And so a lot of people are now vegans or vegetarians or vegans. And I want to know from your experience, have you seen any positive or negative effects as a result of that?
Both. Donisha, you want to speak on that?
Yeah. So, one of the main things with hair health is that we want to increase cellular regeneration. And with the vegetarian diet, it doesn't provide enough nutrients or protein for everyone. As was mentioned, like the blood type diet, once we research the different types of blood types, like for the O blood type requires proteins, animal protein. And you can see a difference. And if that individual is a vegetarian, I have seen in my clinic where they may have a lightheading because they're not getting enough of that protein. So for the particular person, the vegetarian diet was not efficient because they just weren't getting enough of the nutrients that they needed. So it may work well for some and not so much for others.
Now, type A blood type will be excellent. They're excellently suited for to be a vegetarian because their diet requires more vegetables and less meat, or as little meat or no meat if possible. So it just depends.
You know, as we're talking about eating for your blood type, of course, I've looked and they have apps and all types of stuff.
Yeah.
And I've looked, especially as I've gotten older, I can feel a difference in the types of food that I put in my body and how my body feels. And so I have to say, for me, some of the things that are recommended in terms of, I haven't eliminated gluten from my diet. However, I can tell a difference in how my body feels when I do not have gluten in my body compared to when I do. And I make it a habit to just, in my normal everyday eating, I will try to stay away from gluten. But if I go out and eat and I want to indulge in something that has gluten in it, I will. But even just that reduction, I can find that my body handles things better. So,
Right. Yeah, I found that for myself as well, based off that the concept of blood type diet. For me, I'm an A, right? And so in that concept for A's is more of a vegetarian diet, and I do notice that when I eat lots of protein, it is not good for me. But if I eat carbs and vegetables, I have lots of energy. So I've noticed for myself some of those things that's recommended based off your blood type, it works for me. It works for me.
I just wonder how many people who I'm going to say aren't of age yet to start feeling some of the negative impacts of diet. I mean, because being young, you can eat whatever because your body is able to handle it better. And as you get older, the optimization is just not there as it used to be. And so it's like we have to edge on and help our body out. Yeah. So, can we
I
talk a
would
little
like,
bit? Say that
I would
again.
like, oh, I was just going to say, I would just like to add just some things that I saw that changed with a couple of my clients was the elimination process. So just by changing the diet, they weren't eliminating regularly enough. We eat, 3 meals or more a day, and so we
Yes.
should be eliminating at least 2 to 3 times per day. But if an
Yes.
individual is not making those adjustments, then the diet will help them with the elimination process, which in turn will help with the absorption of the minerals. And so just making those modifications make a big difference, even in just everyday lifestyle, which also helps with us getting hair back as well.
That is a good one, Donisha. That is good. That is so good because that's one of the questions that I've always asked is how often are you eliminating? That is a huge piece because if you're not eliminating, but you're absolutely intaking, there got to be a balance in there, right? We eliminate for a reason. We have to get all those toxins and the things that is not good for the body out. And so if it's staying in, we got a real problem. And that's not just for hair, right?
Right.
That's for your overall health.
So it's so funny when Donisha first started talking about elimination. I was thinking she was referring to eliminating foods that make the
Right,
body
right, right,
harmful.
right,
And then I was like, oh, she's talking about eliminating
right.
the process of eliminating
Eliminate. Yeah.
the
Get
waste.
that stuff out of there.
It's about weight, weight. That was good.
Yes. Eliminate the waste, which you don't need, because we take a lot. We taking a lot of stuff. And one of the things is that we want to make sure we're getting in good nutrition because the hair is not an essential tissue. The body does not look at the hair as being essential. And so if our vital organs are not being supported properly, there's no way that the hair can get what it needs. And so all of the topicals, all of the added products, that's just surface. So we have to make sure we take care of our inside as well so that we can generate new hair and then help promote hair growth. So yeah, we got to get the toxins out, get the nutrients in.
And actually, with that, not eating enough can cause hair loss too. So people go on these crash diets or don't want to eat this, don't want to eat that. But if you don't eat enough, it causes a decrease in energy that's available to the hair follicle, which will cause your hair to fall out prematurely. So it's important to eat a balanced meal.
Yeah.
You have to balance it out. You can't go to the extreme one way or the other.
Yeah. And I'm waiting for the research to come out
And it's not just for hair loss.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And there are a lot of diets now where you're like doing fasting. So you're doing intermittent eating.
Yeah.
And I'm waiting for enough research to come out on that because as people continue to do it, we're going to learn more. And so I hear it's good, but we'll see. I mean, is it only good for certain people?
And I was going to say everything is not good for everybody. It doesn't mean it doesn't work. It means it does not work for everybody. So that's why I said it's important to do your research and weigh the pros and the cons and figure out what's going on with you internally and externally to see if that particular diet will be a good fit for you and your lifestyle.
Absolutely. I agree. Because if you have issues with inflammation, right? For example, then you need to have an anti-inflammatory diet, right? But for someone else that's not an issue, then that is not the focus. So it is totally personalized. Like I mentioned before, if you get blood work done, everybody's blood work results are going to be totally different based off their body. And that's going to tell you what you need or what you need to take away.
And some things that may not be affected by your blood type just may not be good for your body. Because there is a more condensed in the book Eat Right for Your Type. Even if you do have a certain blood type, certain things, it's a more structured. I forgot what he uses to really break it down for you, but there's a different type of diet that you should do as well. And I got that from reading the book. I don't know verbatim everything is said because I read so much. I do have notes on it. So maybe on the next show, I can speak more in depth about that and tell you exactly what it is and how he breaks it down.
Okay. No,
And
I
if you
would love
struggle,
to.
if the person struggles with identifying, I think I'm lagging. I'm sorry, y'all. I think my internet's lagging.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to add too, if you're struggling with identifying what's good for your body, seek out a nutritionist, out someone who can actually put you on a good regimen. And if you are on an intermittent fast, then it'll be for a period of time. Or if you're on a certain type of diet with restrictive foods, you'll be on it for a period of time to identify what's best for your body and for your type, because that is very important. Even A's, or O's, specific blood types, depending on your genetics, depending on your history, your health status. Some people can't eat a whole lot of vegetables because of medications that they take. They can't eat leafy greens. So just taking a diet by face value is not good. And then doing your own personal research, you're going to need a professional to help guide you through making those adjustments. So we definitely encourage you to see a professional, a medical professional, when it comes to your diet.
Now, I
Awesome.
would say this because it's really hard to get in to see a medical professional. Sometimes you may have to be 3, 4, 5 weeks out. So to incorporate a trichologist into your overall health assessment would be a great idea in between times. So you have something to go on while you're waiting to get to that medical professional appointment.
Absolutely. Now, I just want to say hello to some of our viewers. We have Paula Carly. Thanks for coming. We have Veronica Banks. Vanessa is here. And so we've had people say, what we're talking about is interesting. And we've had some support saying so true for some of the things that you've discussed so far. So I know that we just touched on this. It's actually a big thing to take on to talk about diet and your overall health, especially when it comes to hair health. And so I want to just allow people to know what they should be taking away from what has been discussed so far. So I want to know, are there any diet recommendations that you would give to help increase chances for hair health for our viewers?
I would say for me, it is the blood work because it's so personalized to you as an individual. I would tell that anyone to go get some blood work done, look at the results, and see what you might be deficient in. I would start there.
So to add to what Dana just said, after you do the blood work, I would recommend that try eating according to your blood type because that would tell you what's toxic,
And I would also,
what's basic. Go ahead.
and I just want to add to see a trichologist as well if you're having issues with your hair. To see a trichologist because we have tools such as the dietary assessment that will help identify where you can improve in your diet, which will help improve your hair quality and hair health.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I am an advocate for that dietary assessment because not only do you get like this score for how you're eating in terms of what nutrients are good for your body, but you also get recommendations of the types of foods that are recommended because while I think eating or taking a supplement can be advantageous, making sure that you get the nutrients from food is, first and foremost what people should be doing. So, and then this particular dietary assessment is a food frequency questionnaire where you're able to assess not based on memory, but based on what they see per the food group. So they don't have to try to recall. It's a tool where they can be guided through the process so it can be more thorough. So really like the assessment. So I'd like to thank you for providing the insights that you did. And I want to start off by letting people know, and I should say, by letting people know where to reach you. And so, Donisha, I have information for you, but would you like to also let people know how to get to you?
Sure. So you can visit www.thehbtc.com. And from the website, you are welcome to either give us a call or schedule a complimentary phone chat so that we can discuss your concerns.
Okay. And how about you, Dana?
You can find me at www.haircares with the SINC.com. And also there you can find information, my phone number, email, and then you can also schedule a complimentary Trico Wellness Consult as well.
Awesome.
Mhm.
And Marvelous Marvelette?
You can get in touch with me at www.tricoscienceclinic.com. There's my phone number, my email address, my chat box, and you can book a consultation.
Awesome. Well, as always, would love to have you on every Monday. I think your unique perspective from being in the seats or standing behind the chair as you do
Mhm.
really provides a unique insight. And I think all of it is needed for us to elevate the industry. So thank you so much.
you. Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Yeah. All right. So, what I'd like to do is just give you just some things that's going on. I have, according to the last lunchtime chat, I have planned a what I call a hair play date in Chicagoland on April 30th. And that is where you can learn what's going on with your hair in terms of how to style it. So it's not giving advice in terms of your scalp health, but for people who are having problems styling their hair, that this is the place to come. So it'll be on April 30th. And I have information on my hair assets page. Let me find that where you can get information about where to go for that. And then I am always looking for practitioners who are using CBD based products for their hair, or if they aren't, they want to, and you need to find out about some. So, want to do research on it. So, set up a time to chat using that link that is on the screen. And then finally, if you know someone who has natural hair or you have natural hair, you want to cut it, I would love to use it for research purposes. So please reach out, and the information is there in that link. So I appreciate you, ladies. I appreciate those of you who have joined today. And remember that our Black hair matters. And as always, take care and love your hair. Bye bye.
Bye.